My name is Amit, and I head the operations for VFS Global in Americas, uh, based out of Washington, D.C. As I mentioned, VFS Global is the world's largest organization in terms of providing solutions to the governments and diplomatic missions abroad. We are currently present in more than 150 countries, working with 67 client governments. VFS Global is a trusted partner to the client governments with an extensive global network and reach. The market leader in the outsourced visa and consular space for the governments.
Right. So, my next question is related to this. So, in the post-COVID scenario, our country is more welcoming of tourists because we see an exponential increase in international travel. And has it become easier to get visas?
Look, after COVID, if you look at the general travel trends, they have been pretty encouraging now. Post 21, when the countries decided to open their doors once again for the tourist or for the student or the business travelers to come into the respective countries, and we have seen from the application volume of 2023 that truly the travel is back, and that was a year which was fully sort of recovered from the COVID crisis, because most of the countries were fully open. Because after the COVID, when this restart happened, it was a partial restart, first of all, and it was a conditional restart. So many countries opened their gates once again for the tourism and the tourists from across the globe. But there was also conditions that, one, you could be vaccinated before you travel. Second, it could be the those PCR tests that you do before 24 hours or 48 hours before your departure. So those conditions were there. There was conditional opening was there right in 2021, but 23 was the first year where you saw most of the countries open their borders once again unconditionally for the travelers. And yes, in that sense, truly the travel is back. The revenge travel, as we call in the travel industry, sometime happened in 23, and you saw most of the people and the volumes coming back to what it was before COVID.
Right. So, has VFS introduced measures to make applications for visas easier now that so many more people are traveling?
So VFS Global, we continue to work closely with our client governments to always analyze the current processes that we have, how we can further enhance those processes, how we can bring in those, uh, you know, um, in a way, how we can more empower the whole process from the government's perspective to make it easy, convenient, and comfortable for not only applicants but also for the governments that we work for. So there are plenty of initiatives in that sense that we always take, whether from the premium lounges availability in our visa application centers to VAYD, which is a visa application at your doorstep, where our team travels all the way to the home address or the office address of an applicant and collect their application, and biometric enrollment is done also at the same time. So these are the processes that have made, of course, the entire process and procedure more comfortable and convenient for the applicants, and certainly more sort of added, empowered, and given more time to the embassies and the consulates to focus on the judgmental tasks that they are, of course, supposed to take for an application. So those initiatives have been done before COVID and after COVID both. We continue to bring in those enhancements in our process.
So, this visa at your doorstep, is this available here in the United States?
Yes, Visa at your doorstep is one of the popular service that we have. It's available in United States. It's available in most of the countries that we work, because in today's time, you see people try to take the service a lot, because, when you have a country as big as United States and you have the limited, of course, network from the embassies or the consulates in that sense, you have people not willing to travel from location A to B to apply for the visas. It also is very important for the group travelers, because sometimes you see there are group they travel in a group, whether it's the business travel or the tourism. There you can use this service as well. At one address you can have all the applicants, and having the VFS team travel there. So this is available in US, and it's also we have also extended version of this. We participate in a lot of consular camps here with the Embassy of India, where people can come and apply for their respective documentation.
Right. Can you talk a little bit more about the consular camps? Where is it held in the United States?
Counselors Camps is an initiative which is jointly done by VFS Global in close coordination with the Embassy of India or the respective consulates of the Government of India, whether it's in New York or San Francisco, or Houston or Atlanta. So these are the camps which are initiative which are there to address the needs of the Indian diaspora that's spread across the country. So we have a fixed calendar with the Government of India, and we kind of go to these respective locations where the embassy or the consulates are not present, and we set up these camps. We do it even on the weekends to make sure that people are able to come and visit those camps and take the services, without leaving their hometown. And it's very popular, and we have almost processed about 10,000 applications in these consular camps, over the last few months. That of course signifies that it's an important initiative, well accepted by the diaspora, and really something that we continue to work with the Embassy of India very, very closely on that one.
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative. But I was just wondering, how do people get to know about these camps? Is this something you
So
publish?
these are pre-announced camps, so that the calendar is done a little bit in advance. We kind of agree the dates and the venue about a month before or 1.5 months before, and then there is a awareness marketing campaign done
Right.
on that. The information is available on our website, on the website of the Embassy of India or the consulates of India, and this is also the information is also spread out with the respective diaspora association, because most of these camps are done in close coordination with some of those associations. Those are working closely with the Embassy of India as well.
Great. So I had a question about the VFS website. I was trying to apply for my OCI card, or no, even before that, my passport renunciation, and it was a bit confusing, not bit, it was very confusing and frustrating. And I was just wondering, and then of course I had to avail of the service that you provide, the paid service to get it done through VFS. So what are your thoughts on this? I think the VFS website needs to be streamlined and made easier for the user. What are your thoughts on this?
OCI application procedure is a three-step process. It's an important document issued by the Government of India, and it's a document that's valid for a sort of a lifetime with couple of conditions in there. So the process itself is a three-step process. First of all, the applicant goes on the website of the Government of India and fill an online application form. That's a process which is done on the government's website, and then they prepare for the documentation as per the guidelines provided on that website, and then they go for the fee payment and VFS website and do rest of the procedure. In that sense, on the VFS website, everything is clearly mentioned. What of course they need to do in terms of preparing the application, in terms of submitting the documents. But it's two systems that applicant has to sort of navigate in a way to apply for the OCI application, because certain parts of the process in OCI application are handled by the Government of India, because that's a very sensitive document in a way, and that process has to be there. We cannot change that, because the process itself require certain verification check that needs to be done by the Government of India. And once that process is done on their website, the rest of the process is rather simple. If you look at, it's quite similar to what you do for a visa application or for a passport application. You go to VFS website and do the rest of the things. Even then, if there are, of course, there are situations or the question the applicant has, there is a call center availability to kind of call and clarify those. And of course, if somebody is in a close proximity to the visa application center, they're always welcome to walk in and take the help of VFS. And we are committed to, of course, help all those applicants who need any sort of clarification to submit their applications.
Yeah. So how does VFS handle customer feedback and ensure a high level of customer satisfaction, especially in the United
States? In terms of, it's one of the very critical part of our journey, the feedback from the applicants, because that's where we get to know where we can do better, what the applicants are experiencing in our different visa application centers. As we explained you, we are present in more than 140 countries, so it's a vast network. Of course, there is a centralized team who tracks the customers' feedback from the central office, but each visa application center also have a customer feedback desk specifically available for people to kind of submit their feedback. We also have different forms. For example, we have VOC, which is called Voice of Customer, where applicant can submit their detailed feedback about their journey, their experience with VFS. The VOC feedbacks are collected on a daily basis across the 140 countries and submitted in a centralized system. Each of the VAC manager, which is the visa application center manager or the teams, they have their respective sort of KRAs, which also includes the feedback from the applicants, the voice of customers. The other way of doing it is online. People can also do it from the VFS website. They can also send an email to our customer feedback team. So all of that is centralized and of course taken with utmost seriousness in our centers. Also, if you look at some of the products that we have launched over the years, which I mentioned, for example, VAYD, Premium Lounge, courier or SMS. So these are the services, those are offered by VFS. Primarily, they've come from the feedback of applicants. They've come from their feedbacks, most of them, because applicants sometimes say, okay, if I have to come to the visa application center, if I go back a few years back, twice in the journey of submitting an application, once to submit an application and then to collect my application. Why can't we have a courier service to collect it? Why do I have to come back, second time? So of course we introduced a service like courier return, which is an optional service and an applicant can choose for while they're applying for a visa or a passport, right? So in that sense, these feedbacks are important because not only from the service point of view, but also from the ideation point of view, that you understand what's the expectations of your applicants, what's the expectation of the customer in today's time. And we, of course, not only look at those feedbacks, but we also sort of work on them. There's a dedicated team for each region, and which is a central team as well, who kind of filter these feedbacks, and the respective departments then take it ahead for the implementation.
Can you talk a little bit? You mentioned Premium Lounge. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So Premium Lounge is a service which is again very popular in most of the countries where, so we have a visa application center where applicants can go and apply for visa or passport or OCI, whatever service they want to take from VFS. There is also a availability of Premium Lounge, which is a more personalized service where they can go and they can block the time and have their application process in a more personalized way, whereas a dedicated staff is available to them. They have refreshments, and they also are connected to their laptop or their phone at the same time, because sometimes you have those individuals who want to take a personalized service. So those are available. Those are optional services available to applicants. Again, something the feedback came from the applicants themselves. You have those lounges. You've seen those on the airports. You've seen those on most of the service centers nowadays, where you go and you have the option of being in the center or being in the premium lounge, and that option is available in most of our center as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. So can you explain the technology and security measures that VFS Global employs to ensure the safety of sensitive data and documents?
Yeah, so technology and the safety of the document is one of the critical part of the journey of this whole process, because that's where you when you do these applications, when you do the processing of these applications, you imagine you deal with the personal information, you deal with the data, and you deal with the sensitive documents. So there are a couple of points I would like to mention here in this question, which is a very important question as well. Yeah, one, of course, we don't possess any. We just process the data. We don't keep any data with us. So as an organization, we accept the application, we process that application, and we hand it that over to the respective embassy or the consulate. Yeah. So those applications do not stay with us. Once the decision is made by the respective government, it comes back to us, and we handed it over back to the applicant in form of the personal delivery, whether they come back and collect it, or we send it back to them by the courier. Yeah. So in that sense, we don't keep any data with us, and there are respective purging policies which are in place. Those are, of course, agreed with the respective government before we get into an agreement or the contract, and those specific SLAs are signed with them. So there is no data that is kept with the VFS. First of all, we process the data, and during this journey, when the process is done, the entire data is transferred to the respective government, and there is nothing that we keep it on our system, first of all. Secondly, while we process this data, of course, there are all the today's requirements that we have for the respective country or the region. For example, GDPR, which is like the data protection act that you have, which was done a few years back in Europe. We of course comply with that. We also comply with other ISO certification. Those are required for the data protection. Over the year, we have internal audits, we have external audits from the third companies, we have audits from the respective governments who can walk into our application centers any point of time without any notification and do the audits of our systems, including the physical audits as well as the system audits. So all of those are done as part of our SOPs. Those are included in our SOPs and done on a regular basis. It's not something that we do once in a couple of years. Every month, every second, third week, one or the other visa application centers are going through either internal audit or external audit. So all of those are done to strengthen the system, to make sure that the processing that we do, which is the processing of sensitive information and very crucial documents, remains the highest top priority for us in terms of handling those data as well.
Okay, let's talk about something related, that is visa fraud. How does one stay alert? And do you have any tips on how to avoid being scammed?
Yeah, again, a very relevant and important question from the applicant standpoint, because the last thing you want to be involved in something like that, while you're planning to travel somewhere and have a journey of your lifetime, or going study somewhere. All of these factors are very, very important when you are planning your trip. So from our perspective, what we do is, one of the key thing in this visa fraud is the awareness about the entire process itself. And with the companies like VFS, we brought in a lot of transparency in this process. There's nothing that is not available that you cannot access. So for example, if I give you an example of any particular category, if one is trying to apply for a tourism visa, or for that matter student visa, or any other visa that you want to apply at VFS centers, you simply can go on VFS Global's website. You can just go on www.vfsglobal.com, and then you can choose the country you are applying for, your location where you are based out, and then that website has entire information about what you need to do. There is nothing else that is there which is not available on our website. If that website is not something that you are comfortable reading it, or you want to speak with someone, that availability is also there. There's a possibility for you calling a call center and asking all those questions that you want to ask about the process, and have the answers which are not only confirmed answer to the process, but which are also approved by the respective embassy, because we don't say anything that is not approved by the embassy. The entire process which is run at the VFS application centers are governed and authorized by the respective embassies or the consulates. So all the answers that you will hear from our staff, whether they are at the call center or at the application center, or the information that you see on our website, those all informations are thoroughly vetted by the respective government, by the respective embassy and the consulate. So we encourage people to be aware of this. Yeah, we of course also do a lot of effort on educating people from the awareness point of view on our social media handlers, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. We kind of keep, of course, reminding people that there is no other way of doing this than just visiting our website. For anything that you do, any information that you take from VFS, it comes free of cost, because you can go on our website and read everything that you want. You can call our call center, and I think with more focus on the awareness, we can of course reduce this risk of visa fraud, and that's very important. And of course, we continue to stress a lot on this particular element throughout the year, and especially before the peak season, before the summer starts, because that's where you see most of the people plan their travel. They plan to go out and have a vacation, and we of course as an organization keep doing our bit and keep creating that awareness for the applicants.
Okay, and so finally, what are some of your future plans?
No, I mean, we are looking forward to this year. 23 was one of the busy years that we had. 24 looks very, very special. It's going to be a good year for the travel. There is a lot of recovery after COVID in most of the countries that we have seen. Coming peak season is the topmost priority for us right now, wherein we want to make sure that we kind of create those elements where people need to know what they need to know, of course, before they apply for a visa or a passport. We, of course, explain them, apply in advance, make sure the application is well prepared, make sure you don't fall for the fraud. and you plan your travel in advance so that you don't get stuck, that you have the tickets issued and the hotel booked, but visa is not done. So summer period is busy, not only for us, but also for the respective governments, embassies and consulates. So you will see, of course, we outreaching to the diaspora, to applicants, to our prospective applicants, and educating them about all these the critical factor, which is, of course, apply in advance, have your application fully complete, the documentation perspective. And the third is that do not fall for the fraud. So these are the immediate priorities: handle the peak season well, taking care of our customer applicants, what's their expectations are, gathering their feedback, and of course implementing all those ideas that we want to make sure that this process is not only convenient but also comfortable. The customer satisfaction is one. We also want customer delight. We want them to be very happy while they are undergoing this entire process with VFS Global, and they have a good start for hopefully the journey that they are going to have during their festive plans, or the vacations, or the summer vacation, or their education plan for the future. So we want to be part of their successful journey, and that journey should start with VFS on a very positive note. That's our aim.